Welcome to The Truth in This Art. I am your host, Rob Lee. You know, that name might change in this episode. We'll see. But today I'm joined by my guest today is a Brazilian multidisciplinary artist based in Berlin. It's just B2B right there. Her paintings emulate personal vulnerability, bringing vibrant fluidity to the gazing eye. Please welcome Rafaella Braga. Welcome to the podcast.
Yo, we here. Excited.
You're 10 on 10. You're 10 on 10.
Let's do it. Let's go. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
100%. I mean, you know, we got celebrities here, you know, celebrity over here. I see you over there, Hollywood, you know, and so I want to start off by kind of asking like this sort of introductory question for those who are undipped and unfamiliar with you and your work. Let's start off with like you sharing your story. Like, what is your story? And there's some bullet points in there, but what is your story? Like, start off at chapter 1 and hit whatever chapter you want to key in on your story. But start off with telling us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I work mainly as a painter, but also in the fields of sculpture and performance and installation. And I think I started my way on art around 14 years old or so. That's when I started like to do some street art thing. And in Brazil, we have what we call picho. That is like the tags, you know, only the tags, the letters. And I started on that, like doing some tags in the street with friends. And then after that, I started like to get more into graffiti and doing like some drawings and all this kind of stuff. Until when I was maybe 17 years old, and then I started like to bring those paintings that I used to do in the street to my place, to home, you know, because I don't know, I felt that I needed like to get more, I don't know, more. I don't know. I felt that art became something more personal for me, you know. I want to like to get more into the therapy side of that, you know, to use that as a tool to understand myself better and to discover other sides of myself. Yeah. Because in the beginning it was just like the street art kind of thinking, you know, like this thing of, you know, putting your name around the city, you know, as a way to say, hey, I'm here, I exist, you know, especially growing up like in the suburbs, like in the ghettos in Brazil. So so that's when my mindset changed a little bit, and then I started like to see art as a tool for change myself, my own self, you know?
Yeah. So let's talk about a little bit of like where some of your inspirations come from. Like, let's say in your most recent work, like where does those inspirations come from? Is it, so speak on that a bit. And yeah, so where'd your inspirations come from? And what was one of the motivators for you to say, you know what, I want to pursue art further than what I've been doing, like growing as an artist?
So I think my main inspiration, because I work a lot of the body subject. So in my works, you will always see these giants, you know, these big creatures, like, and I feel they kind of help me to understand better my hard subjects, you know, like, and I use them as a way to address my physical, psychological, and spiritual experiences.
Sure.
But I always look to those bodies and try to understand what they can tell me, you know. And I use the canvas as a big diary, actually. So it's that place that I can kind of project and manifestate many of the things that I want in my life, you know. And saying that, I think my main inspiration will always be life itself, like the people that I connect, my family, my past, my present, the future that I want to build. So yeah, I think that's the main inspiration. And I think I really decided that I want to like to pursue art around this age, of 15 years old or so, because I don't know, I think that was something that I kind of accept as a mission, because growing up, like my family, most of the people comes from the countryside,
Yeah.
and my generation, yeah, I think started from me. We started like to have some kids growing up in the city, but before me, I think actually all my family before me comes from the countryside, and most of them never had the chance like to choose what they want to work with,
Mm.
to say like, yo, I want to be an artist. No, you can, you need to find a way to make money, So I kind of grew up like with this mindset until my oldest brother. He was like the most different person in the whole family, He
Right.
was like a skater, and he was always outside with friends, like another lifestyle. And then I think, yeah, he moved out from our home around 18 years old to pursue this dream, of being a skater.
Yeah.
But then everything like got wrong in the way. But I mean, in the end, I think was kind of his destiny, because he became like a tattoo artist by the age of 20 years old or so. And then this was like the first artist in the family, because we don't have artists. Like
Right.
most of my family members, they were working like with, more with the, how do we say in English? In the farm, they were like working on farms,
Yeah.
and most of the women were working at home, like taking care of the kids and all these kind of things. And yeah, so my brother became like this tattoo artist and started like to make money with that. And then I saw on him like another opportunity in my life,
Yeah.
like, okay, so I think I have something else, I can do that too, I can become an artist if I want to. And yeah, I think then was like on that time when I was maybe 15 years old that I realized that, okay, so if my brother can do that, I can do it too.
Yeah.
And then I just like started to manifestate inside my own self that I wanted to do that. And there was like this public art school in my city,
Yeah.
that they had different types of courses like theater, dance, and I did everything. I did drawing, I did sculpture. The only thing that I didn't was painting, because on that time I felt it was too boring for me, like I don't know, in Brazil, and especially in my city, because I come from the middle of Brazil, and it's really like people are really close-minded, and we don't talk a lot about contemporary art or this kind of things. And
Sure.
art is something that is really seen as something from the rich,
Sure.
So actually, like, I went to a museum for the first time. I think I was maybe 16 years old, My mom, she just went to a gallery, an art gallery, for the first time this year.
Wow.
In her 50s, to see my exhibition in Brazil, because it's kind of that. It's not that common, to go to an art gallery or to go to a museum, because it's seen as something for the elite,
Right. Yeah.
So I kind of grew up with this mindset that painting wasn't something for me. And I remember that I went to the first class of the painting, and I didn't want to do it because they were learning to paint roses on oil paint. And I remember on the time I was like doing street art and, painting on the street. And I was like, yo, that's too boring for me. I don't want to do that.
I'm not doing roses. That's
Yeah.
so so and thank you for walking us through that, because I think a lot of times um what a artist's experience is not always like in that conversation. It's like, oh, you make this work and that's all I care about. But I really like
Yeah.
hearing it when people share what they do and share some of the experiences that go into it. And, like in reading your byline, your intro, that there's personal vulnerability that's baked into your work. So it's good to hear like some of the ideas and some of the experiences that went into you becoming an artist early on. So in splitting time between New York with your New York cap on, I got feelings about that, and Berlin, and being from Brazil, what's changed you? What has changed about you as an artist? Like maybe how you apply your process, different parameters you might put in place. How have you changed as an artist being in vastly different places?
Yeah, I feel like I will always bring with me a part of my cultural thing from Brazil, And I feel in this 4 years, like living outside of my country and traveling to many different places, I feel that I kind of take a little bit of all these different cultures and kind of put that with my Brazilian culture and, make something,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because I don't know, like when I first moved here 4 years ago, growing up like in the middle of Brazil, I don't know that many cities in Brazil actually because it's super expensive to travel there.
Right.
So actually the first time that I saw the ocean in my life, like really seeing the ocean and going to to the sea, was like in Barcelona in Spain,
Yeah.
like, because in Brazil I couldn't afford to go to Rio, or go to the north of Brazil that would have like beautiful places, but yeah, I couldn't really afford that. So actually, I grew up with many waterfalls, what is also like nice and all.
Right.
But yeah, I saw the ocean for the first time, like in Spain, And yeah, so I think when I first moved here, especially because I think in the whole Latin America, maybe we have this mindset that Europe and also the US is something like, wow, magic, Disneyland. And because I mean, most of the movies that we watch, it's always like from here, So we grew up with this really romantic idea from those places, right? So one of the things that I was really curious moving to Europe and going to US after also like was to really know, those places that everyone's talking about and to see like especially in Europe, I feel like to get to know this place that robbed us like so much, like you know what I mean? Like and to
Like,
kind of create more this decolonized mindset, I think that was really important actually to my work,
sure.
so I could kind of set my art free of the colonials mindset,
I love that.
And yeah, I think I have been building a lot like in this past few years because I mean, when you first come out of your country, especially if you are from the third world, I think you first have this really romantic vision of the things, but then you start like to really realize that no, yo, that's not Disneyland. You can play. But yeah, so it has been a really nice experience those years, like for sure.
Thank you. I want to ask you about this. I think sometimes creativity can come out of having limitations. So I read that placing limitations in terms of maybe time, maybe materials keeps the work interesting. Like we make art in time that's allowed, or we make art with resources that are allowed. And on occasion, I forget to write questions, or I forget to send them to people, or I forget to bring a microphone. It's like, how am I going to do a podcast without a microphone? Things of that nature, right? Do you kind of add limitations within your work, maybe in saying, I'm only going to use one color here, or I'm only going to do this size? How do you add limitations to your work as an effort to maybe keep it interesting and draw something out of yourself?
So, I mean, when I started like to paint, actually, all the techniques that I created and all the materials that I were using when I first started, like everything was based of the things that I could afford.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like using wall paint and gouache, like kids paintings and all this kind of stuff, everything that I could afford. And also like till nowadays, I never really stretch the canvas. But in the beginning was something that was like, because I didn't really had the money to buy the canvas, stretch it, or like to do it by myself. So I was just like using the fabric.
Yeah.
But then all those things like the wall paint and the stretch canvas, they kind of became my style. Because I started like to use those things. Until nowadays, I use wall paint. I love it. It's different for all the kinds of from the other kinds of paintings. And I hate to stretch my canvas. I don't like. I really love the way that the fabric kinds have its own life. And I love the imperfections in the art. I love that. And I really like to be kind of free in my art, and because I feel like that I look to art kind of searching for that, a place that I could kind of be free and could have, and I don't know, that a place that I couldn't have like people judging me about things, that I could just like do whatever I have on my mind. And yeah, I think my whole style of work is based on that. And I don't know, I love to work with the imperfections and to just create and to give more importance to the experience of the creation than to the beauty standard of the art world, whatever it is, and to just build something that is honest to who I am. I'm not really like into the beauty part of that. Of course, like I think in the end we are creating beautiful things, because that's what happens when you're honest with yourself, especially like doing art. But that's not the main goal. The main goal, I think, is more like about the experience, like, because I really feel that I'm kind of living a story with those figures while I'm creating that in my studio. So yeah.
And I two things I want to say with that. I think, having those imperfections in there, that makes it feel real. And I have an example in doing this. Like, I try to keep these conversations as candid and as intellectually curious as possible. So sometimes a question might fall flat. Sometimes a person may not have a really great answer, but I like to keep that in because it feels like it's a real conversation.
Yeah, that's cool.
And in the process of editing and stuff, I used to trim out all the ums and all of that. And I was like, this doesn't feel like a real conversation. I want the realness there. I want the truth in this art. That was very corny, but that's what I want. And also, I must admit, over your left shoulder, that is a fire piece right there. The one that's behind you. Those are like my favorite colors. I really dig that.
Really? That
Yes.
one over here?
The other one. The other one.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. That's on the making, actually. Yeah.
I'm a
But I
fan.
love to work with black and white, and yeah.
I'm a fan.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I got a couple more real questions for you, and even you get the rapid fire questions. Everyone gets the rapid fire questions. That's the rule here.
Okay.
So I'm always interested in the kind of how creatives, how artists, how they socialize. What sorts of creative folks, artists, and so on, do you like hang out with? Do you network with? And kind of how do those relationships go?
It's crazy. I don't know why, but I feel like musicians, they always kind are in my life. Since I was a kid, I have always hanging out with people that have bands or are singers or producers. I don't know why. I really don't know why, but it happens. And also dancers. Most of my friends are dancers and performers. Here in Berlin, of course, we always have many friends that are DJs, like always. Yeah, I don't have many painters friends at all. Like, I feel like the painter life is really lonely sometimes, because like looking to my friends that are like musicians and dancers, I feel they always have their own crew, of other artists that they kind of connect and do the same thing. But as a painter, no way, like everyone is always in their own space and no one wants to share anything with anybody else, it's always like a lonely place. But yeah, so yeah, I think most of my friends are like dancers and musicians, producers, also many like fashion designers and photographers. Yeah, for sure. That's the people that surround me the most.
Are you driven in your work more by curiosity, passion, frustration, or is it something else?
I think it's a mix of everything.
That's a fair answer. That's a fair answer.
Desperation and love, it's kind of that. I don't know. Like, I feel that, I understand really early in my life that I want to like to be an artist. And I think that the thing that most moved myself was love, simple. But I don't know. I also feel that art kind of never let me go also, like even the times that I didn't want to pursue art because I knew that it would be something difficult. I feel that art found me again, like in a way, because I think sometimes when something needs to happen, it will happen. So yeah, I think love for sure is the thing that is still keeping myself doing that. I'm doing like pieces that has like 5 meters, that she doesn't sell easy, like so you need to have passion, otherwise
it's love for me. It's obsession. It's validation in some regards of can I do this? Can I have this conversation? Can I talk to this person? And there's always
to prove to yourself, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And there's a certain degree of difficulty. Like I try to pride myself on if someone's work interests me and then they have something that seems like it's more than just, hey, you paint a pretty picture, or hey, you make good songs. And I feel like I can have a conversation with them and it's of substance. That's the thing that I'm always looking for and always driving at. And, seeing that someone has some deepness in it. And I would imagine with you, like, emotions play a big part in your work or what have you. And that I read that your paintings are a diary with 1,000 possible interpretations. I read that somewhere. So tell me more about that. Now that'll be where we wrap up at on the real questions.
Okay, so yeah, I always saw my work as a big diary, you know, a place that I can put all my secrets and a place that I can be soft and vulnerable. Because I mean, in the day by day life, we don't have time to be vulnerable sometimes, you know, like you can't, you know, it's dangerous, you know, to be vulnerable. Like, so I don't know, like I always felt that I use the canvas as this place that I can just be my own self and I can tell my secrets and have those conversations that for me, like I kind of see as an exchange between me and the canvas that I also see as the universe, you know? So I'm kind of manifesting many things
Yeah.
while I'm writing on those canvas, you know? So yeah, it's this big diary with thousands
So when you're
possibilities.
so when you're having your secrets in it, like every now and again, I'll have references to things that people are like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, but it's like one person that's gonna get it, and they're like, "You're funny" or "You're stupid" or whatever. Do you kind of like tell me about how you're working those secrets into your work? And like, is it really obscure? Is it something for you? Is it something that, let's say, if it's about a particular person, you know, let's say a loved one, a significant other, whatever, that it's baked into that? Like, yeah, this is for you. You know, this is for you. You know what I mean? Is that the type of secrets that go into your work?
Yo, so that's the thing. I hide my secrets in my work.
I love that.
I never let people understand what the fuck I'm talking about, you know? So
Intentionally vague. I love it.
I always mix like the Portuguese with the English. And then I always write like letters on top of other letters. So people look at it and they just see like a mess, you know? So that's it, you know?
You got to crack that code.
I'm using it as a diary, but I'm not giving you the keys for this diary at all. You know?
That's funny. I love it. That answers that question of, do you put hidden meanings? Yes. Yes, I do.
Of course.
Mine's is just open book. It's like chapter 1, I'm dumb.
Yeah.
Chapter 2, I don't know.
Exactly, yo. Like, come on.
So I want to hit you with some rapid fire questions real quick. They're all over the place, but they're fun questions.
Okay.
All right. And, you know, don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. Brevity is key here. All right. You know, moving, you're currently based in Berlin, moving from Brazil. I've had some Brazilian food. Cocini, I've had some Brazilian food. A little, I'm down. What do you like to eat in Berlin?
In Berlin?
Yeah.
Yo, Berlin is all about Asian food.
Really?
So lots of Indonesia food. Yeah, for real. Like here is all about Thai food. Yeah, Thai food it's my go-to Berlin, you know, for sure.
Thai food sounds good, actually. So what has been your favorite over the last few years? I would imagine you've traveled more and so on. What's been your favorite place to travel?
I don't know, yo. Like, come on. I don't know. I think each place has like its own personality, you
Sure.
know? Like, I love to go to different places. But actually, I will not lie that I really want to explore Brazil more, you know?
That's fair.
I think Brazil is for sure like the place that I want to travel more, you know. I need to go to Brazil more, you know, and really see those different types of cultures that my own country has, you know.
Yeah, that's actually on my short list of places as well. Because, like I was saying before we got started, it's like, all right, I've interviewed a fair amount of folks from Brazil. I was like, what? I was like, I just need to go down there. It's just,
yeah,
it's super black. It's super black. It's just black people. Name a gadget that has changed your life.
A gadget?
Yeah, like any device, maybe cell phone or something. Because people always, yeah, the iPhone changed my life. I'm sure it made it worse. I don't know what to tell you.
Yo, analog photograph, analog cameras, for
Really?
real. This shit changed my life. The way of looking at things, for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah, like I have been doing a lot of self photographs with my analog camera in my studio, just to, because I love to the act of, how do you say? When you take pictures of things
yeah.
and make videos.
Like you're like documenting and transposing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. I love documentation. And I think it's really important as an artist to documentate your things. And I love to documentate myself inside my studio, like during the process,
yeah.
because then I look all those pictures and I'm like, yo, remember how I was feeling on the time and which part of life was it, So yeah, for sure. Analog cameras.
That's really cool. I like how you describe that, and that's something that's of interest. I think for an artist, whether it is the artist that's the subject of that, or just other people checking out, like where were you at during this process? You have it documented, and people want that BTS sort of experience.
Yeah, and I think like analog is so raw, it's different because I mean you don't have that many pictures that you can do. So you have like 36 poses or so. And so you really think about the shot, that we're
Yeah,
doing. And I think that it's more real, like it's different than doing like with the cell phone.
true. Are you more of a thinker or a doer?
A doer for sure.
I can see
Like
that. I can see that.
for sure, like everything in my life, like that's why I drop off the university, because I want to do things, but they were like just thinking, what I mean?
It's
They
like,
were, I don't know, they were studying about doing paintings, and I want to like to do it, So yeah, I have always been the type of person that learn things by doing that.
mhm.
And each time that I have an idea, of course, that I think about that and all, but I need action in my life to be able to to continue, yeah, there wasn't things doesn't work. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm somewhat of both. Like I like to think about things, but
Yeah, yeah.
sometimes
I think we need like a
balance.
balance,
Yeah.
right?
But I'm not a dude that reads instructions. I'm like, look, I'm putting this together. I don't care. It's just like, yeah, that goes here, right? That's not a screw. You literally glued that together. It's fine. So this is the last one I got for you.
Okay.
Name three things. This is a weird question. Name three things that are always next to your bed.
Next to my bed,
Yeah. I always have a
my
bottle of water next.
glasses.
Oh, you wear glasses?
Yeah, I wear glasses, but right now I'm using lenses. But I have my glasses and what else? Yo, I don't know. I need to think. And let me think. Next to my bed. Yo, yeah, some lavender oil. I have that. I always put some lavender, in my nose.
Oh, so like yeah, I got you.
When I'm going to sleep, like to relax.
Yeah.
And maybe what else? What else I have? Like maybe some weed, like, I don't know.
As you should.
Some Palo Santo. Some
as you
Palo
should.
Santo, for sure. Some Palo Santo and hose water.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. So that's pretty much all the questions that I have for you today.
Amazing. It was lovely to speak with you.
100%. So in this, I'd like to, again, thank you for coming on. And I want to invite and encourage you to tell the fine folks, the listeners, where to check you out, where to check your work out, social media, website. The floor is yours.
I'm always on IG. You can find me on Rafaella Braga. RafaellaBraga. Rafaella Braga.
That's great. 10 on 10. So with that, I want to thank Rafaella Braga for coming onto the podcast. And I'm Rob Lee, saying that there's art in and around your neck of the woods. You just got to look for it.